All right, so Nonprofit Cloud, we're going to talk about the automating case management for better human services today. We go through this every week. I think you know me and Kathy. Our housekeeping, just want to confirm everybody that wanted to got into the Slack channel okay. I haven't seen much activity there, but feel free to ping me or Kathy, at mention us, and that I don't always see things unless it's at mentions me. And I will check. Jana let us know that there was a glitch in the slide decks on the Llama site NP class. So I will check and see there what we need to do. So today we want to look at 3 parts of case management: for the use cases themselves, the key objects and features, right? So the architecture of it, and then tracking and reporting for case management. And case management is to people what program management is to programs. So case management streamlines workflows and tracks client progress for human services. It's a paid tool from Salesforce that leverages the standard Salesforce account, case, and contact objects, custom objects from the Nonprofit Success Pack and the program management module, and new custom objects for case management. So let's look at a specific case. Humans are incredibly complex. We know that. So no one is surprised that caring for them can be complex as well, especially if you're working with more than one group of people to track impact. The childhood hunger issue is a great example of how we can leverage case management to track total impact. Personally, for me, childhood hunger is a huge issue, and this is something that I've been working on for years. According to NoKidHungry.org, as many as 13 million children in the US live in food insecure homes. The challenge is that the child is not necessarily the client, right? So you're probably not interacting specifically with the child as a case manager or as a nonprofit person, but feeding the children is the goal. So working with their parents, their caregivers, and others is an ongoing effort. Nonprofits that work with hunger issues are also probably advocating for school feeding programs. They're probably partnering with churches and civic groups to pack weekend food backpacks. And some of this can be tracked in the program management module that we looked at last week. But families may need more dedicated efforts that make case management very useful. So every client interaction is important. Every client is different. Each client needs different help at different points in a well thought out organizational process that provides wonderful outcomes. So how does a case manager keep all this information organized so the appropriate information is available at the best time so the client can progress? With Salesforce Nonprofit Cloud and Program Management Module as the foundation, everything's related, which is great. And so case managers and organization executives can get that 360-degree view of a constituent. And in our use case here, we're talking about parents, right? So case managers is specifically designed to track each touch point. That's the key thing to remember. So whether it's an immediate needs program, they're going to be attending a nutrition class, they're going to learn budgeting skills, ongoing support. Those are some examples of things that you might track through case management for those individual families. So, has the parent enrolled in a nutrition class, or have they signed up to visit the pantry, right? Are their immediate food needs being met? Maybe they're beyond those points and are moving into an economic empowerment program with training and learning skills for better employment opportunities. Each family moves at a different speed, and the trajectory is not always linear. Clients may sign up for services provided by the organization outside of the case management tool. So Salesforce's relational architecture provides the case manager with information on those outside activities as well. For example, think of all the things that a case manager might have to try and track during a day. And reading this, I'm like, this is kind of like being in sales, right? It's a very similar process, right? So you're making client appointments, you're following up, you promise something for a client, do you get it back to them? Putting together a plan for the client's success, enrolling the client in the next best step, so maybe they've completed a nutrition class, they're going to do a budgeting class next. Are you encouraging them and not letting that fall off the radar to get them involved there? Reporting on a client's well-being to the organization team, right? How are the things that you're doing going? Is that helping? So connecting a client with government or education services, all those things you can use case management to track for those individuals as well as families. So for the organization, aggregating all that data and reporting it to stakeholders is, an important step in the process, right? So you're doing the good work, but if nobody knows you're doing the good work, then are you moving the needle on impact? And I use this little graphic because sometimes it can feel this complicated, right? I mean, you've got all these different inputs coming in and outputs going out, and are we really moving the needle and making the impact? So is the number of children in danger of going to bed hungry tonight dropping? That's the goal, right, that we're doing. So is the work of the organization decreasing the likelihood that any of those children are not being fed appropriately? Accurate data that's been analyzed accurately will present a holistic picture of successful outcomes. So using case management, using program management, recording all that data can seem overwhelming, but that's the key place to start. Good data will provide good direction and make it better to make decisions. So case management use cases have a lot of moving parts. Obviously, we just saw that, right? But let's look at how the key objects and features in the nonprofit cloud case management product handle a variety of use cases. Don't forget that the case management extends what is already in Salesforce. So let's take a minute to look at the architecture. Okay, and I know this looks like a scary chart and it's probably really small on your screen, but when you get the slide deck and can blow it up and look at it specifically, you will want to do that. The standard objects are denoted here in blue, right? They're accounts, contacts, cases, those sorts of items. The custom objects from Nonprofit Success Pack and the Program Management module are there in green. So service schedules, services, programs, the program cohort, the service delivery. And then the additional paid case management objects are in yellow. So you can see there's quite a bit that's added there. Don't confuse it with Service Cloud case management, right? This is different. And then from the Financial Service Cloud, the action plans and the templates are there in violet, in that light purple color. So you can see that it expands what we already had quite a bit in what we're able to do. Excuse me. So whether a client walks directly into the organization or comes as a referral, you need to collect the data either way. So an intake record for a potential client is a key feature of case management. Notice the intake checklist. I don't know about you all, but I love a checklist. When I used to, everything was in writing and I would go through every single day and hope that I could just check off all my checks. I'm the person who on my cell phone, I don't want there to be any numbers on any of the apps. I want those all to be cleared and done through the day. So a checklist is incredibly helpful. The path, and you're probably familiar with paths if you've used those, in other objects in Salesforce. But this gives you a clear way to see what stage the intake process is in. So that's already set up and configured out of the box for you. The Case Manager homepage is it's where everything comes together, right? So let's take a quick look at the components of the Case Manager homepage. And again, I know this is small and I apologize. We'll look at it more in depth. But in the top right-hand corner where it says number 1, right up here, you see the links to create new contacts and client notes, as well as view program engagements from the program management module. for the case manager's clients. Number 2 is today's events. And you may be familiar with that from, again, standard Salesforce opportunities, right? You have your calendar sits, so it includes any client meetings that may be there. Number 3 lays out from the program management module, recent sessions that lets case managers easily track attendance. Attendance, again, being every part of it, right? Sign someone up, confirm they attended, move to the next piece of the puzzle.
Sorry to interrupt, Melissa.
Yes,
I either don't have the permission to let people in. There are a couple of notifications in the Slack about people not being able to get in.
thank you.
Do you see them?
Yes, let's see if we can let everybody in.
Sorry, I thought I automatically had the co-hosting on here.
I thought you did too. I apologize. Thank you for letting me know. Have we got everybody in? I think so. Okay. Number 3, the recent sessions. Number 4 is actually incidents, and that's something that is specific to case management, but they track any unexpected or unplanned events in a client's timeline, such as injuries, behavioral issues, or emotional upsets, right? Number 5 is the dashboard area. And that shows how many clients have missed their last service delivery, had 3 consecutive absences, or do not have any recent interactions. So clicking that report allows the case manager to drill into the specifics of each of those areas. And then number 6 is the open task. That is the case manager's list concerning client and program data. So it can be broken into 3 areas based on the due date. So helpful as well there from the standpoint of what you actually get right out of the box. A big part of what a case manager does is create and update client case plans. So individual case plan templates make it simple to create a case plan. And so you see, you can just check off those action items that's provided, those templates. And then this section is the case plan itself that shows the goals and the progress for each unique individual. So these look very different from probably anything you've seen in standard Salesforce implementation to date. And last but not least, the case notes and the case assessments are also key to recording information and reporting on progress. So case notes look very similar to notes, standard Salesforce notes. Of course, they're also related to the appropriate individuals, contacts, service deliveries, all of the things that they need to be related to make them functional. And then assessments actually show the progress that someone is making throughout the program, right? Improvements, right? So tracking and reporting for case management. And this is what everything always comes down to, right? I mean, you're working with these folks individually, helping them on their journey, helping encourage them. But what we need to see at the bigger level, at the higher level, to be able to aggregate the data and make data-driven decisions is to actually track and report that. So the mechanism to track it is what we've just looked at. But reporting is a complete and different story. So case management comes with 23 pre-configured reports and 4 out of the box dashboards. Tableau provides 5 dashboard starters on intake, clients, service delivery, assessments, and staff capacity. What you see here is an example of a Tableau report on client enrollment and participation trends. Very visual, very high level. Executives love this sort of thing. They are not as interested in the individual stories, not that they don't care, but to be able to make those data-driven decisions, this is the level of information that they need. And Tableau does a great job of visualizing that data. If you haven't explored what's available I would encourage you to do so. It may not be on the nonprofit cloud certification, but you'll be glad you did. Tableau actually offers donations for nonprofits. And the link is here, and it's a hot link. So when you have the slide deck in your hand, you can go and check it out. And I would encourage you to do that, because if you can create the reports, then you truly understand the architecture that's behind the reports to be able to get that data-driven information. So case management, as you can see, really picks up where program management leaves off. Program management meets the immediate need of feeding a family, whereas case management creates a coaching and learning environment to teach families how to feed themselves better. Next week, we are going to move on to volunteers for Salesforce. We've got the homework here, the client work with the nonprofit case management, which obviously in Trailhead, even though this is a paid add-on, you can work in the case management environment in a Trailhead organization. The documentation for nonprofit case management and the data dictionary, which is also really helpful. Kathy is going to have office hours Thursday, December 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And I'll put the link up for the video when we get this here next week.